In this tutorial, we'll explore the difference between absolute versus relative cell referencing in Excel 2010. Type in some information as follows. And what we're going to do here is we're going to copy these numbers, Control C, and right click, paste, or faster yet, Control V. As we copy these numbers and we paste it here, as expected, we have the correct result. Now we're going to do something interesting. We're going to actually say that this value, cell A5, is equals to A1 minus, click here, A2, and press enter. Notice how this cell is equals to, if you look in the formula bar, A1 minus A2, which is 20 minus 10, which is 10. And this is great. I'm going to copy this, Control C, and I'm going to paste it here. What do you think will happen? Or let's just paste it over here in B5. If I paste it, what do you expect to happen? I think most students would say 10. But let me paste it now and see what happens. It actually says 15. Now, where did that come from? Well, if you take a look at the formula bar up here, what we have here is B1 minus B2. What is B1? B1 is 30. B2 is 15. 30 minus 15 is 15. So, wait a minute, this is not 10. What just happened here? So what happened here is we're in Excel. When you copy a formula, notice the equal sign, it means that we have a formula. We're not actually copying the value by default. By default, we're copying the actual pattern. And the pattern is such that I'm copying this pattern, and the pattern happens to be this cell is equals to A1, which is over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 cells up, minus A2, which is over here. So 4 cells up, the value inside here, minus the value of the cell 3 cells up. So when I copy this pattern of the formula, and I paste it here, what ends up happening is because I pasted it one cell to the right or one column to the right, all the A's get shifted to become B's. So I have B1 minus B2. So the pattern is 4 up, 30, minus 3 up, 15. Okay, let's delete this and try something different. I'm going to copy this and paste it over here. Control V. So as you can see, because I copied the pattern here, the column A got shifted over 2 units to the right. So we call this shifting relative cell referencing. So relative to the original cell that I copied, we're going 2 to the right. So the original formula, A1 minus A2, now becomes C1 minus C2. And let me try something different. So let me try copying this and pasting it over here. Notice how the A's, as we go 2 to the right, become C's. And furthermore, the A1 minus A2, the rows actually get shifted down because relative to this original cell, I'm going down 1 row. So we have C2 minus C3. So we have 20 minus 3 is 17. I know this concept is quite difficult. It takes time to practice, and typically only a few students understand it at the first time. So please work at it and try to understand, and I think through practice you'll understand this powerful idea. Now, how do you fix it so that we don't automatically shift? So normally Excel uses relative cell referencing. So I'm going to show you a new idea. The new idea is as follows. So when we have this formula equals A1 minus A2, if you stick in the dollar sign in front of these columns, column A and row 1, row 2, if you stick dollar sign, the dollar sign means that it never changes. The cell that we refer to is absolute. It's definitely guaranteed to be A1, which is over here, and then A2, which is over here. So the number 20 and 10. So when I say what is 20 minus 10, it's going to be 10. And as I copy this and I paste it somewhere else, I'm going to paste it, it's also 10. The reason why it's 10 is because when you look at the formula, $A, $1, this never changes. Okay, so now let's try something a bit more challenging. If that wasn't challenging enough, let's try something very interesting and mean and cruel, just because some of you like challenges. I'm going to say $A1, $A2. So basically, we're only making the columns absolute as opposed to the rows, which are still relative. So what's happening here is, this means that the column never changes. So we're always talking about column A. However, the rows are flexible to change. So when I press enter, we know that A1, A2 refers to 20 minus 10, which is 10. But when I copy this and I paste it here, for example, I'm going to paste it here. Let's think about what happened here. Here in this formula, the actual column stayed the same, but the row is the same, and that makes sense. But let me try something different here. Let me paste it over here. So let's copy this and paste it. And why is it 9? Well, notice how the column is still the same. So the column is the same. That's going to be column A. And notice how the numbers shifted down by 1. Instead of 1 and 2, we now have 2 and 3. So row 2 is here, row 3 is here, 10 minus 1 is 9. Isn't that interesting? So a challenging question would be basically variations of mixing where the $sign goes, whether it be we make both the column and the row absolute, maybe make them both relative, which is by default, or only make one of the column or the row have a $sign, which means only make one of them be absolute. Okay, so to finish off this video, I'm just going to show you an interesting property here. If I say equals, I'll just say this A2 plus A3, and notice how it's 11, because A2 plus A3 is 11, and I copy this. This is, by the way, relative self-referencing. And if I were to paste it here, what would be the answer? Why is it 2? Because now that we moved the 1 squared to the right and down, we have a shift in the column to become B, and then shift down in the rows. So originally we were at 2 and 3, and now we're at 3 and 4. So B3 is here. 2 plus nothing. 2 plus nothing is 2. So that's the way we compute it. Let's try one more interesting example here. Try copying, paste it over here, down 2. So paste it, and notice how out of nowhere we have 0. Because B4, which is here, nothing plus nothing is 0. Isn't that interesting? So hopefully you found this tutorial challenging, and remember, impossible is nothing.